If you don't believe that healthcare is a human right, that food should be free, that everybody should have housing, how do you make that known without seeming like an uncaring, unfeeling monster? Libertarians, I have an answer for you. Hello, welcome to Escaping the Echo Chamber. I'm your host, Aaron Comey. As always, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Do you feel that healthcare should be a human right? Do you feel that food should be free? Do you feel that everybody should have adequate housing provided for them and should have clothing provided for them? You probably feel this way because you think it's just the right way to think, it's just the right way to live, to care about your fellow human beings. I get it. I have a question for you. If you feel that healthcare is a human right, do you also feel that people should not have to pay for healthcare? If you feel that somebody shouldn't have to pay for healthcare and they should be provided healthcare even if they don't have money, how do you think that healthcare should be paid for? Do you think it should be paid for? Because somebody's got to provide the healthcare. Should that person be paid? Should that person be compensated for the work they do, for the work they've done to gain the skills, to gain the knowledge, to gain the expertise to be able to help people who are sick or who may be trying to prevent becoming sick? Do you feel that those people should be compensated for the work they put in? Okay. So if you feel that people who have more should be able to pay for others who have less. But I have a question for you. What if we get to a point where people feel that, okay, if everything is going to be provided for us for free, I don't want to work? What if we get to a point where everybody says, okay, I'm entitled to these things simply because I'm alive? Who's going to pay for it then? Do we run into a problem? Do we still feel that it should be free? So, I'm not even asking you to say that you believe this is going to happen. I'm asking you, what do you believe should be done if that happens? So you don't even have to say, okay, that's going to happen. You can say that's not going to happen. But my question for you is, what happens if it does? Let's go to food. Food should be free. Like, if healthcare is a human right, then how can food not be a human right as well? But once again, I have to ask the question, what is a right? Because according to the Constitution, bearing arms is a right. That doesn't mean, and at least it hasn't meant, and I don't believe that you would believe, that it means that the government or somebody else is supposed to provide weapons to people. If you even agree that that amendment is legitimate, which many people who think that food should be free don't. But let's be honest. It's written. It's actually written in the Constitution. The healthcare being a human right, food being free, that's not. But what is written in the Constitution is that people have the right to bear arms. So, if that is an explicitly enumerated right, but you don't feel that people should be provided guns for free, shouldn't be provided these weapons at no cost, shouldn't be provided these weapons by the government, but it's a right, how is that any different from healthcare, from food? Even if it's a right, the question is, maybe people should have the right to seek whatever healthcare they want, but it's their responsibility to find a way to pay for it. Maybe people should have the right to whatever food they want, but it's up to them to pay for it. But if you say no, I feel that it's not just a right that they have the right to get, that it's an obligation to be provided to them. That's where I want to point out. It seems like you may not be as altruistic as you think you are. Because if you're saying it's an obligation that food, healthcare, needs to be provided to adults, once again, we fall back to the question of what if everybody decides, okay, I don't want to do anything. I'm entitled to food. Somebody's got to feed me. Somebody's got to bring me food. Who's going to do this? Whose duty is it? Whose obligation is it if everybody decides to exercise their rights to free food? Whose obligation is it to provide that food? Is it somebody specific? Will people be drafted? Will somebody then be forced? Okay, you have to get up and start picking vegetables, growing vegetables, harvesting them. You've got to go pick the fruit from the trees. This guy's got to go kill animals, slaughter them, clean them, prep them, and then provide them to the people that don't want to do anything for the food. Do you believe that's legitimate? Do you believe it is legitimate now to force people to provide the food for others? But of course, you'll say that's ridiculous. That's not going to happen. I say just take a look at what's happening now. You have massive safety nets, and I use safety nets in quotation marks because they're no longer safety nets. Look at how many people, the numbers are growing of people that are making use of these safety nets. The numbers aren't shrinking. If the numbers were shrinking, you could say that the problems are going away. The problems are working. But if more and more people need these safety nets, then what makes you think that as we expand the obligations of the government, that these numbers are going to shrink? What makes you think that people are going to say, hey, I'm good. I don't need this. I'll keep working. I'll keep striving. I'll keep hustling, even though I could be living much easier doing a lot less. If I'm going to be provided a home, if I'm going to be provided clothing, food, healthcare, and I don't have to do anything for it, I can actually do things I'd rather want to do, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't more people say, yeah, I don't like going to work. The only reason I was going to work was to pay for these things I need and to provide them for myself and my family. But now that they're being provided for the government, why should I have to put up with a crappy job, an annoying boss, irritating coworkers? What makes you think that the number of people that need these services are going to shrink? So if the numbers just keep growing of people that need free food, free housing, free healthcare, free clothing, if the numbers just increase, who's going to be providing these services? It's not even about paying for them. Because when we talk about paying for them, it sounds abstract. It's just money. It's just paper. Who's going to be doing the work to get these things to people? Who's going to be providing the healthcare? Who's going to decide, yes, I want to spend 8 years, 8, 10, 12 years going to school, grinding, studying late, just going through all of these courses, learning so much, learning how to take care of people, learning human anatomy, physiology, learning all of these things. Who's going to go through all of that hassle just so that they can now take care of people for no compensation whatsoever? Or maybe far less compensation, because maybe healthcare providers will still be getting money under the Medicare for All, like under the Medicare for All Act. Yeah, healthcare providers will still be getting paid, but they're getting paid a lot less. Medicare for All pays out 40% less than private insurance does. So who's going to go through all that work for less money? Somebody's got to actually provide the services, the food. Who's going to go into the fields? Like right now, you've got people who don't want to even go into, pick oranges and go in the fields and just in the grueling sun, just picking hundreds of thousands, millions of fruit to provide to everybody else. Somebody's got to do that work. Somebody's got to go actually harvest the soil, get the weeds out, aerate the soil, go through all of these things to make sure the vegetables grow, actually go start picking the vegetables, cleaning the vegetables, shipping the vegetables. Somebody's got to do that work. If everybody is entitled to get all of that stuff for free, who's going to be the sucker that says, okay, I don't have to work, but I'm going to keep working just because? I'm going to stay out in the hot sun for 10 hours a day just because. I'm not getting anything for it. I'm just doing it just because. Because if everything is being provided for everyone for free, who would want to work? Who would be stupid enough to work? Would you? Do you like working right now? Do you like the job you have to do right now? But you're telling me you'd be willing to do it for free, for no compensation whatsoever. Hey, these are questions I'm asking. These are questions that if you're a libertarian, if you already agree that these things shouldn't be done, these are questions you need to be asking the people who are promoting these ideas. Because they're presenting ideas forward that haven't been fleshed out, and they don't want people to be fleshed out. But they know that once they say this, they're going to elicit a reaction, an immediate shutdown. Don't shut down. Entertain the conversation. Go deeper. Let's take this to its logical progression. Let's see how far this goes. Let's see how far you're willing to go. And let's see if you're going to be honest and say, okay, once we get to the point of everybody saying, wait a minute, why should I do anything if all this stuff is going to be provided for free? And if everybody says that, if 60% of the people say that, what do the 40% of people have to do? How hard do they have to struggle? And what if they just say, I'm tired, I don't feel like doing all this work, when 60% of the people are doing nothing? Because right now you've got people who are mad that somebody else owns. You've got people that are mad that other people own houses, own apartments, own condominiums. They're just mad that they own one and this person rents. So how much envy is going to exist in a society where people, 40% of the people are doing work, 60% of the people are doing nothing, and 40% of the people have to provide the goods, the services to these 60%. How long are they going to put up with that? Would you put up with that? So these are questions we got to be asking people. We got to go deeper. We've got to take it to its logical progression and be willing to say, hey, do you still think it's a good idea? And my question for you is, Have you ever had this conversation with somebody about Medicare for all, about free food? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for checking out this episode of Escaping the Echo Chamber. As always, give me a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time.